Welcome to the SFL Postgame Show. We've got our first caller as you're just now joining us. 216. It's Mr. Ronnie Nickens, owner of Cleveland. Well, Scott King gets involved, but turnovers in the red zone undo you tonight. That's got to be getting frustrating. Ronnie, you with me? Give me just a second. Sorry about that. We had some trouble with our connection. Ronnie, go ahead and call back, and we'll get that situated here in just a moment. Well, welcome into the SFL postgame show. Don't have official stats for you yet tonight, but Cleveland drops a game to Orlando 18-10, a game that Cleveland certainly had plenty of chances to win, and then Dallas pulls away from Tallahassee. Ronnie Nickens, can you hear me?
Dallas pulls away from Tallahassee. Ronnie Nickens, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you mute your broadcast in the back?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? Ronnie, you with us? Well, we lost Ronnie again. If anyone else wants to try to call in while we figure out what the technical issue is there on that end, of course, well, let's try. The third time's the charm. Ronnie, can you hear me? Ronnie, can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Ronnie? Ronnie, can you... Ronnie. Ronnie, are you with me? Oh, folks. Come on. We can figure this out together. Come Come on. I'm sorry. I think it's me. Ronnie, give me just a second, all right? Here we go. Ronnie, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Finally, I can hear you.
Yeah. That's my fault. It's my fault. What I was saying on the air here is, Scott King gets involved tonight, much more than in the past two games, but then the red zone turnovers undo the Vipers tonight. It's got to be frustrating that one problem is fixed and then another one occurs.
Well, my offensive coordinator, he's trying to get things together. And also, as I looked at the game, I also see some things where the defensive coordinator needs to, if he looks at the game, basically I shouldn't have to tell him what to change because it was a blaring hold all night, and that was when they would use the double backs, the three backs. We were most of the time line up on the wrong side and run to the other side. So he's got to look at that and come up with some scheme on that because just about everybody uses that play. So he's going to have to work on that. Scott King was involved more this week, but he has to figure out how still to keep everybody else involved. And everything can't be too King. He's got to still keep those other receivers involved, and I think he's got to look into how he's using Bowles. I think he can improve that because I believe Bowles can be effective going to the outside some, so he's got to run to the outside as well as the inside, so he's got to figure that out. But other than that, there were improvements, so I'll just see what they can do next week.
Yeah, it's a game of inches. The Stevie T. Diggs rarely misses a deep ball, which he did on that first possession where Orlando made a surprising statement by scoring a touchdown on their first drive after putting up nearly a goose egg last week on the road. But Diggs typically does not miss that ball. And then King was targeted 8 or 9 times in this game. It was the most of any Viper wide receiver, but not by a large margin. But there was the interception by Woods there in the second half on a ball to King over the middle. Was
two
of
those.
Right, and then
each of them was
and they were late, and then on fourth down late, trying to hit King, and that was broken up by Lacoste. So it wasn't for a lack of trying. And then Bose makes a rookie mistake. I mean, the ball's on the 6-yard line. There's no reason to take a safety there, and then it wasn't really the same after that.
Well, I think the play that he had him in that situation really was the problem more so than Bo's effort. Bose was trying to find room to run, but if in that situation, you just try to run your back right up the middle and see what you can get. You don't try to do anything fancy down in there.
We see this league is so hard to get victories in, and we see teams all the time, even tonight, just get hurt and get blown out and really struggle. That's not happening to Cleveland. Cleveland is in every single game they play, just these small losses, small margin of error, little things, losses for Cleveland. But that's the way that it goes sometimes in this league, right? And you're going to have some of those losses, and you're going to have some of those wins too.
Oh yeah, I mean there's a lot of progress, but as I stated, I believe there's room for improvement still on both sides of the ball. There's some plays on the defense, although they're doing good, that needs to be changed because they can do better if those plays weren't in the playbook. So he's going to have to look. Both coordinators going to have to sit down and look at the game, be objective at what's there, and come up with some for the defense. Come up with something to counteract what's being done to the defense, but it's really not too much critical on the defensive side. They're still keeping us in the games. The offense has really got it. For me, you know me, I'm used to an explosive offense, and we've always had. We've got to go downfield more. They're using Bowles in the passing game, which for me is okay, but we got those receivers here for a reason. Let them do the catching. Let Bowles do the running.
Ronnie, as always, thanks for your time.
All right, thanks, Cam. See you later.
Ronnie Nickens, owner of the Cleveland Vipers. Cleveland takes on Minnesota next week. Boy, if the Maulers lose to the Crabs, that's the battle of 0-3 teams. Talk about desperation in that one, as Cleveland played Minneapolis close last year. SFL Postgame Show. We don't have stats immediately available for you tonight, as we usually do, but we will have those box scores up before midnight for the time being. and we'll try to get everyone in one at a time. 9:03 here on the SFL postgame show.
Steven Mullenax, Dallas Ruffnecks.
Mr. Mullenax must have been watching from afar tonight. The quiet confidence of Mr. Mullenax. Unless I'm just blowing things for you right now.
No. If I was quiet in the chat, it was only because I was watching friends and family, and we were having a great time and cheering and jeering and crying and the ups and downs of the SFL games.
Yeah, you said that you were going to try to involve some family tonight and showcase the new digs, your home opener, all that good stuff. Who was able to join you tonight, and what was their SFL knowledge and experience coming in?
Oh yeah, I had a pretty big group. My parents, my brother, and some friends, and it was great. It was. For them, it was a brand new experience. Had no idea for most of them what the SFL was, and this really what we did tonight, and what you do on game nights when you're the commentator. It's our best foot forward as a league, and it showcases exactly what has drawn all of us to the SFL and what's great about it. And tonight, I was surprised that people stuck along with it. I thought maybe they would get tired of it after maybe the first half. Yeah, man, the entire group, the whole game, cheering, especially in the second half. And it was a great time had. I think we'll probably do it again.
Well, that's good to hear, and there was plenty of cheering to be done in the second half. It was interesting, as I'm calling the game, I'm trying to figure out exactly what the MO here is of Rocco Marconi basically been given the green light to just throw it all over the field wherever he wants to. And lo and behold, I actually was onto something because it did really feel like Marconi had the green light in the first half, and then you made adjustments from there. Was that sort of an object of this game is to, okay, everybody thinks Tallahassee's pass defense is really good. Let's see how good they are.
It was more about what Tallahassee brings, what their MO has been for the first two games and how strong their defense is. It was more out of respect other than trying to test them. And just mentioning that, I want to tip my hat to Frank and the entire Pride organization. They are a class franchise all the way. But yeah, you're right on the nose. We decided we're going to try and open up the offense and try to outscore the Pride, who have had trouble on the offensive side of the ball. We knew that Lane was going to get his rushing yards. You can only do so much, but we thought that we had a unique setup with our 4 wide receivers that we could spread it out. And Mike Davis. He's been successful for us, but there's been a lot of runs that have been stopped early before the line of scrimmage, and then he would bust out for the bigger runs, kind of similar to what he did tonight in the fourth quarter. So we wanted to try and pass more, basically, and open up the offense to see what happened. And as you can see through the first half, I was sweating it pretty good that maybe we had gone the wrong direction. But we've always made really great halftime adjustments, and that's what I kept preaching to the crowd that we were watching the game with when we were down 3. I can't say enough about our defensive effort tonight, and how much their play really kept us in the game and allowed Marconi to figure out what he could and couldn't do.
There was a lot of talk in the chat tonight. Of course. Jonathan Concord, he kind of looks like a tight end, but he's just a pretty beefy receiver there in the slot, and he wears 87, and he has the sleeve. And so people were making comparisons to Gronk, but calling him Conk for Concord as a combination. I don't know if Conk is going to be a nickname that sticks. But to that point and the point of all of your other receivers, I know it's only been 3 weeks, but you're 3-0, and this whole 4 bronze wide receiver thing, with Rocco Marconi, the league's all-time passer, you just have to be loving the results that you've seen so far.
Oh yeah, I mean, not in the first half, but definitely in the
Right.
second half. But no, absolutely, and we're not done tinkering. We're still trying to figure it out. And I was talking to Destro today about this. As you never quite figure it out. That's the fun thing about it. You never quite get it all the way down, but we're really learning what works and what doesn't work within this offense. Tonight was a big step forward for us. Definitely a statement game for a franchise. A great home opener in a brand new stadium, and we're not done. There's still things to do, and since we still need to balance the pass and run a little bit better than we did tonight. There were plenty of interceptions that we knew that were going to come. Just didn't know they were going to be in such a flurry. But I knew the Pride's defense and their secondary was strong. But regardless, we thought we could open up the offense on them, and luck turned in our favor tonight.
I got to make a comment about who dat out dat, because this guy, I mean, he made the highlight reel in week 1 for his tremendous blocking, where he picked up the double block down the field on a big Davis run.
Right.
Tonight,
Right.
not only does he catch a fair amount of passes and he catches a touchdown pass, but he forces a fumble on an interception in the end zone, and it could have ended up being a touchdown for you guys. It just didn't go that way. But he just, I mean, for a number 1 receiver out of a group of guys that are supposed to be equal, he just continues to just stand out in this league. Is that what you see from him in practice?
Yeah, you know what? He's such a talented guy that among the 4, he does stand out, and there's a reason why that he's our top wide receiver. He may not get all the targets, but he's doing little things. He's garnering attention from the secondary to allow the others to get open. The guy, and really, I think he's adopted our defensive mentality, and he is playing hard-nosed, roughneck football. And I couldn't be more proud of him.
You know, Ramos Lynn in the chat, sometimes people don't think that I see or am paying attention to what people are saying. But, he's 2-0. His offense is averaging 57 points a game. He's got everything he could ever want in life, and he wants credit because he came up with conch. And I mean, if it's got to be that way, then, credit Ramos Lynn for a nickname that I'm very nervous about saying on the air, because I may say something else. So it's but either way, lots of favorite plays, I'm sure, tonight for you on the winning side of things. Steven, what was your favorite play of the night watching from the owner's box with your family?
It's got to be that final defensive interception. We have the game in hand, it seems, and then we were just kind of the fact that the defense never gave up, and they scored that last touchdown. It was the most jubilant maybe I was all night to see a non-star linebacker score a touchdown on a pick six. It's just a credit to our defense, and that was my favorite of the night.
Steven Mullenax, owner of the Dallas Ruffnecks. Thanks, man. Congrats.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm going to go out and trademark Crocs.
All right, sounds good. Open line now, 210-473-8428. Here on the SFL Postgame Show, we've heard from Ronnie Nickens, owner of the Cleveland Vipers. We've heard from Steven Mullenax, owner of the Dallas Ruffnecks. Dallas gets a huge win in the game of the week after Dallas trailed 10-7 at the half. 37 unanswered points in the second half. I can't even remember the last team to score 37 points in a half. 9:04, you're on the SFL Postgame Show.
Frank Goodin, Tallahassee Pride.
Well, I guess we'll have the exact opposite conversation that I just had, because it was, yeah. As a head coach, do you look at the second half and say we were exposed, or do you look at the second half and say well, we should probably focus on the first half?
I'm Just maybe a little combination of both. First, I want to give mad props and respect to Coach Mullenax. Steven came up with a great game plan. He brought his boys to play, and they brought it in their home opener. And listening through the postgame show, really couldn't happen to a better guy in terms of having a great time with his family and with his people over. So I'm glad they got a chance to enjoy a win. We gave it what we can. We would have been happy to beat them, but they earned it. They earned it. So I'm happy for them, and we've got a little work to do on our side. I think they exposed us because they made the adjustments. I think you made a really great call in that early in the game. They let Rocco go, and I felt like in the first half, I was thinking, okay, you're making a mistake, but to their credit, they had the plays in the playbook to make the adjustments, and Rocco was Rocco. And so, he started, gashing us in the middle and hitting the outs when we gave them to him. And they made it happen.
Yeah, Rocco was Rocco, but West was West. Was that a product of, I'm not sure. I can't say specifically with details if receivers were open and West was just missing them or not making the proper reads, but West clearly has to understand on film that who he was throwing to was not open. I mean, all of those interceptions, besides the last one where Lane makes probably the worst play of his career, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Lane did that one time against Louisville last year too, in a game that got away from Tallahassee as well. But maybe I'm mistaken. But it seemed like West was just chucking it into traffic, and what are his receivers and tight ends supposed to do?
Right. Well, we'll see. I'm not going to put it all on West because I send in the plays for him. And right from the beginning of the season, when you announced the schedule, I took a look at, the team builds, and right from the beginning, I knew that this Dallas Ruffnecks team had the kind of defensive build that would give our offensive approach trouble. So in a way, I think we'll take a look at the tape, but I'm thinking that really they were really well prepared defensively. And it could very well be that West didn't have a lot of options with the ball. He's always been aggressive, wanted to make a play. He probably tried to force it a couple times. But they have the defensive personnel to give us fits. So we're going to have to work harder in being smarter on our game plan.
Yeah, looking ahead now, week 4 with Carolina coming into town. Of course, that is a game that Carolina desperately wants, as they do this week against Santa Fe because of what happened in the last week of the regular season last year. But it's interesting you bring up defensive team bills because Carolina's 2 goal safeties, or 2 goal corners rather, it doesn't really phase Tallahassee or the way that you would probably prepare a game plan for them. So how does a Carolina defense differ from a Dallas defense strategically in your mind?
I think that they differ. It's a great question. I think they do differ in some really significant ways. Dallas might be the team that would be most built or most able, ability-wise, to be able to slow us down. A little less so unless they plan specifically for us, if they can get the game plans in there and really try to anticipate what we're going to do to them. If we are careful with throwing the rock, then, it's going to force them into a different kind of game, and then it'll be, hey, can they stop the run? They don't seem to be built to be able to stop us unless they do really well scheming for the run. So we're going to, no doubt, we're going to have to be careful with the football and not overreact to the way that, Dallas handled this. We can't overreact to it, and we're going to have faith in our ability in the way that we play the game. And I think that this next matchup, we may be able to it may help us in that. So we'll see.
Back to Pride Park in week 4 and in week 5, another 2 games at home with this little road game in between. So enjoy the happy home coming back, Frank.
Yes. Yeah, we need the home cooking.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Frank Goodin, owner of the Tallahassee Pride. We have time for one more caller. I'd wait if you were not a player, coach, or owner tonight. I'd wait to see if any of those want to call in over the next 60 seconds. If they don't, it's an open line for anyone who wants to call in and give their thoughts on the game of the week. A bit of a shocker as Dallas pulls away from Tallahassee big. 44-17. Tallahassee scores on the final play of the game. Yeah, interesting night across the league. Orlando wins in a really strange game, 18-10. The game was pretty high scoring early. Orlando scored a touchdown on the opening drive. Cleveland marches down, gets a field goal. Orlando marches back. And then everything sort of went cold again, and Cleveland got into another defensive battle, and Orlando couldn't figure out how to get Zach Parker involved, and a lot of interesting issues for both of those teams tonight. But in the end, Orlando improves to 2-1, which is not too shabby considering they have 20-17 and 18-10 victories. In Week 4, Orlando hosts Baltimore as it's a rematch week next week. And Cleveland, as mentioned, will go to Minneapolis. Tallahassee hosts Carolina. And, of course, Dallas goes to Sioux Falls. Now, currently, a rematch of the SFL championship game is on tap between Queen City and Houston. That could be flexed out if Dallas and Sioux Falls both head into Week 4 undefeated, especially considering Houston and Queen City will have already been broadcasted twice at that point. So very interesting Week 4 with our potential first flex game of the year coming up on Wednesday, August 24th. Open line for anybody who wants to call in, since we've given plenty of time to those who want to call in for that played tonight. I'll take one more caller. If anyone is interested in commenting on what happened tonight, how it may affect your rankings or your opinions of some teams, games you may be looking forward to for the rest of this week or later on in cross-conference. So we'll give that a minute to rest. Box scores will be up in the next 2.5, 3 hours on the league site. As far as highlights go, we really love putting those highlight packages together for you guys. I hated that I wasn't able to do it in Week 2. We're really trying to make an effort to get the casual fan in and hopefully get some more live viewership numbers. Tonight we had a high of 55. That was good. And we need to keep bringing in these Slack people into these live games on Twitch, because that is where it's at. But Warrior 32 asks, what's a flex game? Basically, it's like the NFL does it, that we take a game off the air that was originally going to have commentary and we put a game in its place. Obviously, we want to do play-by-play for the best that the SFL has to offer. So a potential 3-0 versus 3-0 Dallas and Sioux Falls matchup next week would certainly be something that we would consider to be flexed. Now, if Houston and Queen City both win this week, for example, and they're going into a championship rematch, then obviously we're pretty interested still in those two squaring off in Houston. Well, no more calls tonight, it looks like, but that's quite all right. It was a great night of SFL action. Orlando gets the win 18-10. Dallas hammers Tallahassee 44-17. Appreciate all of you for being with us all night long on the SFL Network, and we'll see you Wednesday night for Queen City in Los Angeles, a rematch.